Record. All right. So thank you so much, Tiffany, for joining me. I'm really excited to have the chance to have this conversation with you. I think a great way to start might be just to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Akua. I'm so excited to be here. You're one of my favorites to chat with, so really appreciate the opportunity here. And so I am CEO of CEPHR, and that is an acronym for Cultivating the Evolution of Professional HR. So you'll find me in HR spaces, being a disruptor and making sure that HR is transformational. So what I do in my business is I help startups, nonprofits, small business to medium-sized businesses to build out their infrastructures, their policies, systems, programs, procedures. Maybe they don't have an HR department, or they have another function who's functioning as HR and they need a boost. Maybe they're looking to enhance or build onto the infrastructures they have, whether that's a handbook, employee engagement. Culture work is really important to me, so I do a lot of that work with my clients as well. I'm based in Pittsburgh, but I support clients all over the US.
Awesome, great, yeah. And I mean, one of the things that I loved about the bio you sent to me was this idea of the curator of culture. I think that that's such an awesome way to describe what you do. And, if you were working with, maybe a brand new startup, what would you tell them in terms of like, where do they start, right? You have the two co-founders, they're about to like maybe start hiring. What should they do next?
It's so funny you mentioned this because I just had a post on this on LinkedIn recently. So definitely evaluating what your mission is, where are you currently, and where would you like to go? So one of the things that I like to tell new founders is, especially being an HR person, the importance of having an HR person, whether that person works for you or with you, definitely at least have a consultation, grab a thought partner to really talk about where are you trying to go? What's your roadmap? And that's some work that I do with my clients as well. So I provide a gap analysis, and clients love this. I love doing this work. It allows me to get to know them and they get to know me. But you really have to know, like, where am I now and where am I trying to go? And if you haven't put the thought into that, that can be problematic. So definitely doing that. And starting out with just, I've had people resist policies and procedures because they feel like it adds layers of bureaucracy. What it actually does is protect your organization. It sets your team up for success, that culture piece we just talked about. So really those are some of the things you want to be thinking about. What is your employer brand and what do you want that to be?
Great, yeah, no, I love that. Can you tell me maybe a little bit more about this sort of the gap analysis? What are the questions you're asking people? What are the things that you recognize?
Yes, so what I do is I offer free 1-hour consultations to all of my clients, and I love doing those. I just got off of one before this, so it's a great opportunity to get to connect and see, do we vibe? Am I a fit for them? Are they a fit for me? And during that discovery process, what that really looks like is just what I talked about. What is your current state? What's the roadmap as to where you're trying to go? What's your vision? I need to understand their vision so that I understand their business and how to best support them. So I really am able to get that through that. And then I pull all of the things we talked about. What's their culture look like? Is their turnover high? What are the things that keep them up at night? Their pain points is really what we're getting at. And then we talk about how I can maybe help alleviate some of those for now, and then what the roadmap looks like moving forward for the future. So it's this beautiful evolution of a process where we also get to build relationships. So that's really fun. And then I pull that all together, I share it with my clients, and then we talk about, all right, what are those strategic priorities? What would you like to tackle first? My own ideas of that, but I like to go through a partnership. I like for that to be a partnership. I want them to determine that just as I do. So that's kind of what that looks like. And it's super, super fun.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you're bringing your expertise, but you're also bringing along your client as well, right? Because I think so many people in the space that we work in as service providers sometimes will be like, okay, this is what you do, right? Or this is the roadmap. And it sounds like this is something that you really co-create. And I love that. And I'm sure then sort of not just the buy-in, but the success rate, I'm sure, is also a lot higher when it is a partnership and you approach it that way.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And that's that's the way that I work. And as an HR practitioner over the years, what I found is that some leaders or employees want you to tell them what to do, and they want you to kind of serve that up on a platter. And it's not that I can't do that and that I don't want to and that I don't have that expertise to lend, but then it doesn't allow them, it doesn't empower them. And, we don't get to build as robust of a relationship. And so that's why I like to go through this co-creation process that you described.
I love that. And so you mentioned a little bit about your background. Can you tell us how you got to this point, sort of working for yourself and supporting leaders in this way?
Yeah, so I'm on second career, third career, depending how you look at it. So I started out in medical billing, which I loved, and it lends really nicely into what I do now, but did that for 6.5 years, then had a move to a legal billing career, did that for 6.5 years, been in HR now for coming up on 13 years. So it's kind of strange to me when I think about it, and I don't often, unless someone asks like you just did, what I did before.
Yeah.
And so what kind of the way that I got into HR was due to not getting what I needed. I wasn't finding that people were being empathetic in the HR space. And that hurts my HR heart to even say that, but that's reality. And so I was able to turn that negative into positive and really wanted to help make greater organizations and help support employees better as well. And so that's kind of what got me here. And I looked into the HR field, and I had a mentor who said, "Oh, well, you want to help people? You want to make the world a better place? That's why you're getting an HR? Get off now." That's not what HR is about. And I was like crushed. Like, what do you mean? I now understand why, because we sometimes are not popular with the decisions and things, but I love having a tough conversation too, and I love everything about what I do.
No, I love that. So can you tell us a little bit about some of maybe the HR related roles that you've had over, you said 13 years, right? Yeah. So what are the different things that you've seen and tried and done before you got here?
It has been an evolution. So part of the work that I do too, within HR and on the side, is mentorship. It's so important because for me, it took a long time before someone would give me a chance to break into the industry, but I was driven and I really wanted this and I knew it was my calling. And so I made it happen. But started out as an HR assistant in a trucking company, and then moved my way through like the nonprofit world. And then I started working for large corporations. And so that really boosted my career. I worked as an HR department of one, where I was managing the benefits and I was handling all the employee relations and I was communicating things out to the team, working closely with the VP of Ops. So being small like that and really operating as a generalist allowed me to get a lot of exposure to a lot of things. And so that's really was the pinnacle of like shooting my career up, which has been fun. My path has been extremely crooked. I have changed jobs a lot. I have been judged for that, both personally and professionally. But at some point, I stepped into that. I had to do a lot of reflection. And I just said, I took risks. And some of those intentionally. Sometimes I was downsized. But unless you get to know a person, and this is part of the work that I do, you don't know what their story is. I'm huge in stories. So you have to just let the process be. Not every career path is vertical. You can use transferable skills. And so that's really how I was able to build my career, is working with a mentor and starting to tell my story differently. Like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe I did file some papers over here, but look at all this other beautiful expertise. And hello, have you met me? I say that not to be arrogant, but one of my top strengths is positivity. And so it's get to know the person. And so I practice HR a lot differently than some may expect or than some others do.
I love that. And I think, one of the things that I've seen as someone who's had the opportunity to work with a lot of amazing HR practitioners is that sometimes not having any other experience outside of HR can make it a little bit difficult to relate to people within a business. And it sounds like you bring a very unique perspective because you've worked in so many different places and on the other side of HR. And being able to recognize like, hey, this HR is not working well for me. I want to do it differently. But I love that. I love how like you said, you were a generalist and now you can sort of pick and choose where you want to work and where you want to play. If you were to look back or maybe not look back, because it sounds like to me you're okay with it being crooked, right? I also feel like I'm someone who's
Absolutely.
okay with like trying different things. When people look at my background, they're just like, and I'm like, well, I just go where I get excited. You know, for me, it's very much about excitement and fun and joy, and that seems quite similar to you as well. But maybe for someone
Absolutely.
else who's out there and is sort of looking into HR, thinking something similar, like not thinking something similar, but maybe being told something similar that you were told, what would you tell them?
I think, I had a conversation like this over the long weekend, actually, and it's so important, Tom. I've had several of these over the years because I know what that looked like. I know what that can do to your self confidence when people are like, it kind of sends a message like, oh, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And when you want something so badly, I believe that the universe will pull, if it's meant to be, and it will gravitate towards you. That's how I got to where I am. So just use your resources, use your voice. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself, to stretch outside of your comfort zone. I have been in some uncomfortable spots, and that is what grew me. I never like to present. You would have never found me on a video like this, let alone recordings. And guess what? I love it now. So just step into your confidence and, find a mentor. That's been the greatest thing for me is, not, you don't have to know it all, and none of us do, right? So using people who have skills that are either different from yours or somewhere where you maybe want to learn and grow has been critical.
I really love that. And very similar to you as well, video doing this is something I would never thought, I never thought I would do. But like you said, like when you want to do something and you know this is something that you feel like you've been called to do, you kind of just figure it out. And
Yeah.
this idea, I think for a lot of people, a lot of the clients I work with, this idea of like confidence and people talking about, oh, I want peace of mind. I want to be confident. It's about taking action at the end of the day. And a lot of time taking imperfect action to start off with.
Love that. Love that. I am all about imperfect. As a new entrepreneur, I'm uncomfortable every single day and I love it.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And I remember I wanted to ask that as well. Tell us a little bit more about your foray into the entrepreneurial space, right? How long have you been, doing this? And I mean, I think that we connected, I guess, sort of on LinkedIn, right? And I think that the traction that you've been able to get has been amazing. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey into this space.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that acknowledgement. I love a good celebration and acknowledgement. So I love to pay that forward too. So I've only been on this journey for I think this week I stopped counting the weeks for the first time. So I don't know how many weeks, but since May 11th exactly. I know the day was my launch anniversary. That was a great day. I didn't have a lot of sleep, but it was super exciting. Before that, just working in different organizations and always always knowing that I wanted to work in HR and loving what I did, always had positive feedback from my stakeholders and built deep relationships. But I always kind of had this nagging something like, I just want to do more. And when you're working full time, there's just only so many hours in a day. I've been a volunteer basically my whole life too. And so it's how much time do you give to that without burning yourself out? But I definitely have, kind of walked that journey and come full circle. So from supporting stakeholders in organizations of all sizes to, now it's just time for me. COVID hit. And I was like, ooh, is this a good time? But I have supported every single one of my clients with COVID-19 guidance. And so it's about that support and community for me too. And I'm loving this entrepreneur journey, even though it's super new.
Yes, I love it. And I mean, you mentioned volunteering. Can you tell us who Tiffany is outside of the work that she does? What do you do? What brings you joy outside of your work?
It is my community. And so I relocated to Pittsburgh. At the end of the month, it'll be 2 years, which I can't believe. I'm originally from Milwaukee, but no matter what space I live in, literally, I like to play in those spaces too. So I volunteer currently for a company called Girls Plus Data, and it is a nonprofit helping girls learn STEM and teaching them that data touches all spaces, even HR, giving them confidence, that confidence we talked about, and really helping bring more women into the tech space. That is a great area of opportunity. So I derive a lot of joy from that. Our team is super engaged. I've sat on boards before for community health centers. So I always find a way to volunteer and give back with my community, whether that's giving meals out or volunteering my HR expertise pro bono is really helpful too, because it's important for me to continue to evolve the HR profession as well.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Anything else, like any other advice you have for people around HR, or sort of things that you've learned from your journey so far?
I think one of the things that I want to share is like Mythbusters. I feel so compelled to always share. HR people are not just there to hire and fire you. We're not lurking around corners looking for trouble. We're not on witch hunts for things. We really are, of course, we're there to support the organization. And there's this balance of supporting the organization and supporting the employees. You can do both at the same time. And that's something that I'm super, super passionate about. So seek out your person, your HR person, know who they are, because they are a great resource for things, whether you're looking for somebody to help you celebrate or you're falling on some tough times and you need some resources. So definitely connect with them, and leaders help us walk that journey. And I've seen sometimes where it happens where HR is painted to be the bad person from leadership. We need to be partners at the table, because there's a lot of great things that come out of that, and it makes your organization and your culture stronger. So, and for anyone looking to get into HR, grab a mentor, own the skills that you have. Don't just think, oh, well, I have no HR skills. There are so many transferable skills that pull into that. You work in customer service. Guess what? That lends itself into. There's so many paths that you can take, and just believe in yourself and use your voice, advocate for yourself. And that's, I think, what I'd like to leave people with.
I love that. And if people wanted to get in touch, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Sure, they can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm there a lot. Love networking, and feel free to connect with me there. Otherwise, you can send me an email too at tcastagno@CEPHRconsulting.com.
Great, and we'll make sure that I'll make sure I like tag everything in the comments so people can get in touch that way as well.
Thanks. The last name can be a doozy.
Oh, my last name too. So I know. But thank you so much, Tiffany, for your time. And thank you so much for your support as well. I just have like, the past year has just been amazing in terms of engaging with so many people, I think, on LinkedIn and other, on other platforms. And I think the support I've gotten from you specifically has been just, I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Well, you are a joy to support. And so that's effortless for me, and thank you too. That's reciprocal, right? I appreciate you supporting me as well, and I'm always so grateful when I get to spend time with you.
All right, well, thanks again, and this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, take care. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.